All right, hey guys, how you doing? Um, just wanted to make this video, talk about a couple things, and then promote a podcast. So, good morning. Oh man, there's a little nail here. Just sitting here out at the beach. I was doing a little bit of planning, a little bit of scheduling, a little bit of getting ready for my my podcast, and I wanted to just send this out as a presentation for the Black Philosophy Matters podcast, and we talk about how to improve yourself. Um, so there's certain steps that you have to take for self improvement, to improve your philosophy, to improve your way of thinking. So I just wanted to start out on some of the steps that I took. So just to put myself out there a little bit, um, you know, Carl Jung talks about a man has to get knocked into the second mountain in his life. Hey guys, how you doing? Walaikum salam, brother. My daughter's on fantastic. So talked about, Carl Jung talked about getting knocked into the second phase of your life. He calls it the two mountains. The first mountain is the mountain that men create. It is the mountain of family, wife, children, job, vacation, essentially all the things that he wants. Okay? He builds that mountain and he believes that in this mountain he actually has obtained things. But then after a while, he, man realizes that this mountain is not sufficient. And the point, a man will continue down this path until he gets knocked into the second mountain. And the second mountain is that of relationships. The second mountain is that of fulfillment in life. Buying a car is nice, but it doesn't fulfill your soul. Having a wife is nice, but it doesn't fulfill your soul. Having children is nice, but it does not fulfill your soul. What fulfills your soul is having a wife with a good relationship, having children that are successful and having a good relationship with your children, having a house that is a home. Okay? So I hope that we understand the difference between the two mountains. The first mountain is a container. Men put things into this mountain. The second mountain is a container that is filled with emotion and relationship. Now, what Carl Jung says is that a man will not move into the next mountain unless he is forcibly pushed into the next mountain. And that's what happened to me. A little over a year ago, I went through some pretty traumatic life experiences that made me look at myself. And I had to ask myself a question. Who am I? What am I doing? And where am I going? And so what I wanted to do today was to share some of the techniques that I used to, four techniques that I used to move from one mountain to the next. Okay? The first technique that I used was journaling. And here I have my journal. And this is actually my second journal. This is the first one that I have is just a simple, basic composition notebook. After I filled that, I said, you know what? I want to get a notebook or a journal that has a little more pizzazz to it. Okay? And this is it. And the next one that I'm going to get after this is going to have a little more pizzazz because I'm realizing the importance of journaling. Okay. Now, journaling is, there's several purposes. Now, what I use my journal for is this. It's to express my feelings. It's to express my hopes. It's to express my dreams, to get them out of my brain and put them on a notebook or put them on a piece of paper. Okay. Now, a journal can be very successful in that. But as I continue to journal, all right, sorry about that, guys, got some wind blowing here. As I continue to journal, I realize that the journal is so much more. Okay? I can go back, and I sometimes do, right? When I'm feeling down or depressed, I go back into my first journal, and I look at some of the initial posts that I made in my journal. And I realize how far I've come, how my mentality has changed, right? My mentality has changed. Definitely, brother, I will. I'm going to post it around. My mentality has changed, and it helps me to motivate myself to continue to be the man that I know that I can be. Okay? Also, one of the aspects of journals and journaling, and I believe this is the main reason why you should journal. This book here is the inheritance to my children. We wonder when we talk to our parents, what were my parents thinking when they were 20 years old, when they were 30 years old, when they were 40 years old, right? And when I pass away, I'm going to, more than a house, more than money, my children are going to have my thoughts. My children are going to be, my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren are going to be able to have a connection with their grandfather, their great-grandfather, and so on and so forth. Being a history teacher, the only reason why we know history like we do, okay, is through the journals of just normal people. And they explain what was going on in their world. So journals can be used hundreds of years down the line. Okay, inshallah. They can be used hundreds of years down the line for your family. So I implore you guys to start a journal, right? Just put your thoughts out. You know, my journal has really, it's metamorphosized throughout the years. You know, I just started writing. Now I put the date, I put the time, I put the day of the week, you know, my daily journal. You know, I put my business ideas in my journals. I put the good days that I have, the bad days that I have. I put the relationships issues that I have with my children, relationship issues that I have with people at work, relationship, you know, issues that I have with people of my significant others, right? All of my thoughts are put in the journal. I'm not as consistent as I should be, right? But it helps me stay on track. It helps me get all of these thoughts in my brain out, okay? And put them into a book so now I can look at them and analyze, okay? The next, as I sit here and I'm going reaching into my bag, is reading. Motivational reading. Whether it's audiobooks, whether it's real books, we should be reading something to benefit our lives all the time. Okay? All the time. Now, this book here that I'm reading is Carol S. Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, Mindsets. Okay? The New Psychology of Success. This is how you move your life forward. You should always be reading something beneficial. You should always be improving. You never become content. Never rest on your laurels. Always try to be the best. Okay? And so I'm going to take this and to segue into the project that I'm working on, which is building my podcast. Okay? The Black Philosophy Matters podcast. And in that podcast, we are going to be covering this book. We are going to be covering mindsets. And this is a book essentially telling us that it is okay to fail. That failure is a prerequisite to success. Okay? And for a lot of us, the reasons why we don't achieve our lot in life, the reason why we don't get what we want out of life is because we are afraid to fail. Okay? And that book, Mindset, talks about that essentially to succeed, you must fail. You cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid. Okay? The next action that you can do when you move from the second, or when you're thrusted from one mountain to the next mountain, is every morning you need to be doing two things. Every morning you need to be listening to motivational lectures. Every morning. Not every other morning, every morning. When your brain first is fresh and it's malleable in the morning, you need to put the motivation, as they call it, the affirmation, the words of affirmation into your head, that today is the day that you are going to change your life and be the best man or woman that you can be. Every day this needs to occur. Every day you're listening, okay? Now for me, I listen to two people. I listen to more than two, but the main two that I listen to is Jim Rohn and Les Brown. And it seems that it has worked for me that those two in my life, they mesh so well and they motivate me, okay, to get up every day. So when I wake up at 4:30, the first thing that I do after I turn my alarm off on my phone is I go to YouTube and I hit a motivational lecture. And it usually takes me about 10 to 15 minutes of listening to that motivational lecture before I tell myself, okay, Shahid, it's time for you to get up. It's time for you to get moving. It's time for you to be the best that you can be today. Words of affirmation. Okay? And I used to be a very negative thinking person. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that I'm 100% positive thinking, but now I can recognize the negativity that is affecting me. And I can do something about it. I can see the negativity because my brain is filled with positivity. Before, I didn't know that I was being negative because my entire world was revolving around my negative mindset. Very important. Okay? And then lastly, the fourth thing that you need to do as you move from one mountain to the next is every morning you need to get what we call in wrestling a blowout. You need to get your lungs expanded. Now that could be through jumping rope, right? I have an exercise bike in my house. You can go for a jog. Every morning you need to do some kind of physical exercise early in the morning to get your blood flowing. Get that blood flowing through your body. That stagnant blood out and moving through your body. I don't know if that's scientifically correct, but that's how I feel. Get a good sweat. Okay? So when I get up, I make my bed. Okay? I drink some water. I put on my motivational lecture I put it in my armband, or I have a wristband because my arms are a little big. My wristband, I get on that exercise bike. 10 minutes. 10 minutes while I'm listening to my motivational lecture in my ears, I'm pounding it out. I don't necessarily have to go hard, right? But 10 minutes first thing in the morning to get up and get moving. And between the physical exertion, between the mental exertion or the mental affirmations, okay, between then your journaling, and then finding something motivational to read, okay, you will see that these techniques have a amazing effect on your life. Okay? And so as we move from one mountain to the next, and we start to know that the world is not about filling things with, but the world is about fulfilling relationships with the people in the world. Okay? The first relationship that you must fulfill is the relationship with you, the relationship with me. Okay? And I can't give anything to anyone else if I don't have anything to give. Okay? And then we'll talk later about, today I got up and I said, you know what, I'm going to do my day's work at the park. Okay? We'll talk about getting a more stringent exercise program. We'll talk about meditation. We'll talk about prayer. Okay? All of these points are very important. But right now we're talking about how to jumpstart your new life, and doing these real basic techniques that will lead you to success. Okay? So with that, this is the beginning of the Black Philosophy Matters podcast. So I'm going to post this. If you guys see this, go ahead and like. Okay? Share. We have on YouTube, we have Black Philosophy Matters channel. Go there. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. So when I submit videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you get the notification. Like the videos. Okay? On the Black Philosophy Matters podcast, we're going to be covering this book, Mindset by Dr. Dweck. Okay? I want for people to come out, and it's going to be a call-in show, inshallah, God willing, right? Where people can call in over Zoom and tell me their words of affirmation. I can affirm them. They can tell me what they're doing in their life, how they did it. And we can lean on each other to make each other successful. Very important. Enough of us being out here trying to do it alone and essentially being destroyed by the system. And let's move to fighting together. Let's move to fighting together so that the system doesn't devour us. Okay? Let's change our philosophy. Let's have a philosophy of abundance instead of a philosophy of scarcity. Let's have a philosophy of success instead of a philosophy of failure. Okay? So, if you guys see this on Instagram, I am Mr. Clay Potter. Okay? Molding the future. On YouTube, Black Philosophy Matters. Okay? Also on Wednesdays, we will be doing a men's group. I believe the time is going to be from 7 o'clock to 7:30. If you are interested in having in joining the men's group, please email me at blackphilosophymatters@gmail.com. Okay? This is going to be a closed group, invitation only, men's group. Okay? Invitation only. because we're going to get raw, we're going to get real, okay, and we're going to heal. So I hope that I see you guys there. I hope I see you on the podcast on Wednesday, the live podcast. I hope I see you guys putting comments in the videos that I post here on Instagram and in YouTube. Okay? And I hope I get some emails from the gentlemen that are interested in joining the men's club Fridays or the men's group Fridays from 7 to 7:30. And we might push it on a little bit further past 7:30 depending on the conversation and the involvement. Okay? So like I always say, guys, keep putting one foot in front of the other and you will reach your destination. You guys have a good day.